So the last joy inhibiting paradigm that we're going to talk about is emotions get in the way. They get in the way. We want to do stuff and you got emotions right now and then
Mm.
we got to stop and we've got to deal with your emotions. How annoying is that? And our fifth joy generating paradigm is emotions get us back to balance. So we've got stress in our bodies, tension, and the emotions actually pull that stress out and allow children to move through their development. Like that emotion blocks their ability to get their hair washed or go out for soccer or whatever it is. Like the emotions are a block, and the emotional expression moves the block and enables them to take risks and do hard things and do what you told them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Get their shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
It actually enables them to do those things.
There's a great saying, feel it to free it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it just sits there, like what you're going to see potentially.
I kind of feel like stopping and
Mm-hmm.
seeing if,
Questions, maybe.
yeah. Well, because we have 45 minutes. Let me just see if we
We have
can go to the
15 minutes.
queue. What did I say?
45.
Oh, I meant
We have 15 minutes.
15 minutes. And so I want to see if we can find the Q&A. Only host and panel can see the questions. Okay. If you all have any specific questions that you want to put into the Q&A, you can also put them in the chat because we've been reading the chat right
Mm-hmm.
along.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can just want to invite you to do that. So I'll go back to am I sharing screen? No. I'll go back to this and then we can watch for your questions if you have any, because since we are going to be wrapping up. So this idea of emotions flowing like a river, what does our society do with these emotions? It tries to block them. It tries to stop them up. And I'm sure you can think about your own experiences of pushing feelings down and trying to stop the flow of your own emotional expression. And we do that in lots of ways. So one way we do that is by ruminating, blaming, being in denial, and a big one for parents, distracting children away from their feelings. And it's like, so
Mm-hmm.
often just giving them what they want so that they'll be quiet and we can just relax again.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than doing these things, which teaches children that emotions are something to avoid and also sort of kicks it down the road. So you get them to stop their emotions, but then in like 5 minutes, they pick something else to be triggered about and it goes off. So we want emotions, at least sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes to complete the expression so that they can get cleaned out of their body tension. And what we're doing by avoiding emotion is actually avoiding grief. We are big grief avoiders in this society. We are all about the pursuit of happiness, and grief does not compute in that paradigm. So, when we stop avoiding grief and embrace it and allow children to feel disappointed and let them have their feelings and support them with their feelings, not by doing a lot of talking, but just being with, that sense of compassion takes, like, you don't need the blame, you don't need the rumination, you don't need the denial, you don't need the distraction. You just need this being with, this compassion. And we'll definitely talk about more about how this works tomorrow. But if you think about pain and grief at the bottom of this river and all these coping mechanisms, avoidance, blame, distractions, denial, rumination, etc., what you get is coping substances. So when we use blame, we use distraction, all those things create kind of this addiction to coping substances like anger, which is the substance of adrenaline, many of us are adrenaline junkies in our society. And eventually it can lead to drugs, and it can lead to alcohol, it can lead to shopping, it can be all kinds of things. But you get addictive behaviors by stopping emotion. So we're by not letting our kids embrace their emotions, we end up creating this situation where, like, what am I going to do? I need something.
Mhm.
And it's goes back and forth. So I need something, and then I have more feelings, and then I need something and I have more feelings, and it's just this yucky cycle. Whereas if you just let them have their feelings, and here comes the compassion canoe.
Compassion canoe.
Right, and you just meet them with compassion, that is how joy can come online in your family, is to really allow your children to go down, and yourself to go down into those emotions, have a lot of compassion for yourself
Mm.
and your children. And this is one of the things we teach in the course, is how to have compassion for yourself,
Mhm.
so that you can then move through rather than around or under or
Okay.
avoid. And that is how we get to joy. You can't go up to joy without going down. And then tomorrow we'll talk about what do I do when the emotions go on for too long? How do I deal with that? Like, they never stop
Mhm.
for some families. And so we'll talk about that for
Mhm.
myself and for my child. So, day one today, we just talked about how children need to be taught rather than corrected, and especially not necessarily corrected, or not corrected in the moment, but taught like later in revisiting experiences. That time is love and not money, and shifting that mindset. Children do good when they feel good, not when they're expected to comply. And then the mindset, our expectations need to meet children where they are, that we delight in the child that we have, and then we help them move to what we'd like for them to experience, and how to challenge, how we challenge them, but only after truly accepting them where they are. And then 5, emotions get us back to balanced. We need emotions to clean us out. Tomorrow, we've got these questions that we told you. How do children learn if we're not correcting them? How will I get things done and get to places on time if I slow down? How will my child learn to do hard things and get grit if they feel good all the time?
How do you inspire children to grow? By meeting them where they are. And what do I do when the emotions go on for too long?
So that it will be tomorrow. If you have not subscribed, please do. You get 60% off of your 1-hour sessions with us when you subscribe. You also get this book, What to Tell Them, Friends, Family, and the School, about your child's behavior. And this is our course that we will be talking about on day 3, real-time self-care.
You've referred to.
Let's see. I love that thinking of these paradigm shifts for my kids is giving me permission and a bit of a mandate to use them myself. Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
then Q&A. No questions.
No questions.
All right.
I have a question.
Okay.
Will we be having it webinar style tomorrow again, or are we going to shift
Yeah,
it
we have to
to
we
the
have to
Zoom?
do unfortunately we have to continue to do
Because we
webinar
have-
because that's the link
we've
that's out there.
already- Okay.
But when we do our class, our course, we
Mhm.
will be on Zoom, and we'll be able to talk to you, and you'll be able to talk to us, and you'll be able to talk to each other.
It's live, and there will be recordings of this for
Mhm.
you, for all of you who were here today. And if you think somebody, we have a
Emma.
question.
Emma asked a question
Okay,
early in the
let's
chat.
go find
Emma, if you're still here, could you ask that question again? Question about risk.
Mhm.
One approach I often take is, instead of saying don't or careful, I try to say something like, I'm a little worried that if your foot slipped while you're doing that, it could be a bad fall. Is that any more accepting of risk, or just another flavor of weird? I mean, it's probably another
It's
flavor
a
of
flavor
weird.
of weird.
But one thing you can do is say, are you
Yeah.
worried about
Yeah.
whether your foot's going to slip?
What do you think is going to happen if your foot slips off of the tree, because kids are wired to figure out problems, to learn how to think, to solve their own problems, and to become autonomous beings. So if you pose it to a child, what do you think is going to happen if you do that? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Oh, I know something that happened once. Do you want to know? Kids love cliffhangers. They love a cliffhanger. Do you want to know? No, I don't want to know. Oh, you don't want to know. Well, if I see it happen, I'll tell you. Another cliffhanger. Wait a minute. What are you looking for to have happen, Mom? And that's a way to get a kid to come online and have interest in having a real collaborative conversation about their safety and their approach. The other drop I'll give you is that if you want your kid to do something, do it. If you want your kid to know something, show them. So for me, I do a lot of acting and role playing. I had a kid who wanted to leap from one chair to a piano bench onto a spinning stool to do an obstacle course around their house, and the parent rightly and myself were thinking, oh, when they get to that spinning stool, that could be. And so I got on, and the mom did too, and we played it out. And when I got to the spinning stool, I went, oh, wow, this one isn't very steady. Oh, I don't feel safe. And that is a way for a child to have an embodied experience and have exposure to an idea that is a concern that I hold as an adult, that keeps them engaged, where they're not getting a no, you can't have this fun, but oh, there's this risk that I'm experiencing. And then they grow curious about it. And what I got to show was how slowly I said, I think I'll do this very slowly since it doesn't hold still. And then I've been able to teach the child without teaching the child, in real time. And that gave me a sense of safety. I think the parent had a sense of safety, and the child did use the approach because it was compelling to her. Children need to be emotionally engaged in order to remain interested and kind of stay online for what we want them to learn.
But you can be scared. Like if you
You can
see
be
your
scared.
child on a wet branch and you just imagine that foot slipping, you'd be like, "Hey, this is making me so nervous. I can't watch.
Right.
I gotta watch. I can't watch." I
Right.
mean, keeping it light and letting them like experience your emotions as not serious but real.
It's emotionally engaging to see. A kid finds that response emotionally engaging. Look at my mom. She's not acting the way she normally does. She's having a big reaction. It's care-based, it's informed, and a child can form curiosity about that reaction. But to hear, get off of that, what are you thinking? Or be careful, there's no information there for them to get curious about. There's just an alarm going off. And then they become alarmed about risk-taking. In some cases. In others, they have to go take that risk and they wait till you're not around, which is also disconcerting.
A lot of our course is about how to have emotions without having them be super heavy and lightening up with your kids. Because if it's serious, it's scary. So if your emotions are serious, then your emotions are scary. But if you can express your emotions in ways that are light, then it's inviting and fun and kind of exciting. So just consider like when you see that, Emma, just like see if you can experience what you're experiencing without the heaviness.
We offer some very tried and true language around how that allows you to communicate with your child around these topics that are unsettling for you, where you do find it hard to know what to say and later think, oh, I wonder if I wanted to try another way. And we help you develop the practice and find the words that, customize them so they also feel authentic to you, because that feels really good to say something that where you also validate yourself for your experience. I don't like this. I don't want this to happen.
And just know that you never should know what to do in the moment.
That's right.
It's all about reflecting on what happened and how you might want to do it next time, but you should never just know in the moment how to respond. So there's no beating yourself up, because you should not have the expectation of yourself to know in the moment. You can only know later when you look back.
Michelangelo said, "I'm still learning," when he was 87 years old. I'm still learning. Yeah, thanks for being with us today. And if today was the only day you could make it, we're glad you came along, and you can reach out to us for more information about our course. You saw hopefully you got that QR code. And if you're going to come around tomorrow, we're going to look forward to getting in depth about some of these topics.
Yep. If you want to learn more about the course, it's at childreninbloom.org, right on that front page. Thanks, everybody. So good to have you. Yay,
Great.
Latrice is coming back tomorrow.
Yay. See you tomorrow.
Sally's coming back tomorrow. Great.
Great. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.